Hello, this is Danielle from CaptivatingCostumes.com. In this episode we're going to be talking about Arduino to Arduino communication and showing you the parts of the Proton pack that I have printed so far. So stay tuned. Right, I've managed to get a basic parts layout with the acrylic bent into shape and all of the parts placed onto the motherboard. Now, all I did to bend the acrylic was hold it over the edge of my unit and heat it up with a heat gun and gradually let it flop down and set into shape. So that will act as the bottom shelf for the toolbox once it's in place. So if we have a look around the parts that I've got so far, you can see the PPD section up in the top here, which just has bolt holes in the bottom, which will be bolted straight onto the acrylic. The next thing we have is Sponge Face's grill, just sat in place there, which you can find on Thingiverse. This metal part here is a fruit bowl from B&M in the UK. It cost me £3. If we take that off, you can see Sponge Face's, I don't really know what this bit's called, it's like a center part and the light glows through these holes. I printed this out at 9 centimeters tall, which is 2 centimeters shorter than the original design. The only problem is when you put it inside the cage, if I put it to the side you should be able to see better. It doesn't go all the way to the back, and I drew around it on this piece of black plastic. I don't know if you can see the lines that I've drawn there, and I tried to fit the cage around it with it positioned in those spaces, and it seems it's too tall because the corners get caught on the edge there. So I've actually started printing it again in 7 centimeters high. And once that's printed, I'll need to print 5 of them to fill out the inside. And although 7 centimeters does seem a little bit short, I think it will still look cool when the whole thing's there. And I really like the idea of using this fruit bowl. If we look inside these wedges, you can see a little lip inside, which comes around this area here. And the cool thing about those is you can embed the NeoPixels inside. So once they're all attached, they will look like that. And those have 70 pixels in, which is considerably more than the 24 pixels I used last time. So hopefully it's going to be considerably brighter. When they are actually glowing, the light will shine through these holes here, which will give a really nice effect. So the only problem I've heard is once the black bit is completely assembled in a circle and these are attached together, they'll no longer fit through any of the gaps that are available. So I will probably have to build them inside that section and then put the last bit of it together last. The other thing we have over here now fitted in is the toolbox ends, which will just have this black plastic wrapped around them to minimize weight, as I've said on numerous occasions. And the last bit that you see here is this, and this is a 20,000 milliamp hour battery, which gives out a maximum of 4.8 amps via 4 USB outputs. Now, from doing a little bit of maths, I've figured out that if this ring of NeoPixels was on its brightest setting, displaying white, it would require about 3.6 amps. But considering it will never be in that situation where it's going to be white at full, I estimate that it's going to require about 2.4 amps. Fingers crossed. And luckily one of these USB outputs alone will give out 2.4 amps. So I'll probably dedicate one of these USB outputs just for the NeoPixels, and another one at 2.4 amps will control the Arduino Duo and the Arduino Pro Mini. So let's go have a look at the Arduino Duo and the Arduino Pro Mini and see what I've been up to over there, because I've been spending the last week or so playing around with some code on those to get them to talk to each other, and I'll explain why when we get over to them. One of the most annoying things about the previous Proton packs was the amount of wires that were running from the thrower back to the pack. In that pack, I estimated that it was about 14 wires running back. And because of the extra features in this one, I estimate that I'm going to need about 20 to 24 wires running from the thrower to the pack, which is just too much and potential for too many problems. So the way that I've decided to get around that is by using serial communication between two Arduinos. And what you can see here on this board is an Arduino Pro Mini and an Arduino Duo. Now, the Duo is renowned for being quite a speedy and powerful Arduino, and I'll be using that to control the screens down in the pack. The Pro Mini up here is about as powerful as an Uno, but probably about a fifth of the size. This is just slightly bigger than a ring pull on a can. So the idea is I take the switches, which will be attached to the thrower, and they, instead of going all the way back to the Proton pack, will just hook up to the Pro Mini, which will be situated inside. And the switches will tell the Pro Mini to do something, and it will tell the Duo to do something. So, for example, if I press the first switch, which is the boot up switch, the Pro Mini would tell the Duo, the boot up switch has just been pressed, please change the animation on the NeoPixels, and that would do it. And utilising this method, it means I can bring the wires running to the thrower from approximately 20 down to about 5. Now, I've just run a quick test on this, and I currently have the Duo controlling the Pro Mini. And you can see that light that's blinking on and off on the Pro Mini there. Well, that's not code that's installed directly into the Pro Mini. The Duo is actually telling the Pro Mini to do that. And it's just a little basic test which I can adapt to get them to communicate with each other. So let's have a closer look at the Pro Mini. As you can see there, it is very, very tiny, and if I get a little tiny micro SD card and put it next to it, that is a micro SD card, so you can see how small that Pro Mini actually is. And this will mount inside the thrower gun box, just at the back there. Leaving me plenty of space to be able to get to it and make any changes or repair any faults that go wrong with it. The next thing that we have is the linear motor, which I discussed in a previous episode, and this will mount just at the top here, and it will have an arm extending down which will push the barrel in and out through that gap there. And finally, the linear motor controller, which I'll probably just glue into that location there. So it's all nice and tidy at the back. The other thing that you can see there is relay, the black thing on the right hand side there. And that will be attached directly to the trigger button. And we'll just distribute 5 volts to the Pro Mini and the linear motor controller. And on the other side, it will distribute 12 volts to the plasma tube. I've also had this backpack delivered this week, which appears to be the right colour. I haven't even opened it yet, so let's get it open and have a look. This cost £10 off eBay. It's a 40-litre backpack, whereas the one that I used for the previous packs was a kid's backpack. So this will likely have longer straps. They seem really padded and much more comfortable. And it has straps to go around the waist. And what I'll probably do is cut around here, around up there. I'll cut across there and back down the other side. And as you can see, it's got some nice padding here which will go against the back whilst wearing the pack. And I think it'll be much more comfortable. So not only have I reduced the weight, I've also increased the comfort. Like I said, this was £10 off eBay. I'll leave a link in the description as always. And let's get on with some other stuff. As you can see over here, I've got the new sponge face wedge printing, which is 7 centimeters high instead of the 9 centimeters which I originally printed, and instead of the 11 centimeter tall which it is designed at, because it's just not going to fit. So I need to print 5 of these out, and hopefully they'll be done by next week. I forgot to mention earlier about this acrylic. As you can see, it's bent up at the edge, as we discussed earlier. And I actually did this to my other sheet of acrylic for the second Proton pack just a couple of weeks ago. But we invited a friend round, and she decided to sit on it and smash it to pieces. And you can see one piece of it just here, which remained after the damage. So I need to buy another one of those. So that's all I've got time for this week. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Like this video so that your friends can see that you've watched it and perhaps they will watch it too. Please like my Facebook page as well at Captivating Costumes. And I'll see you again next week. Thank you very much for watching and love you all.